fun. It's always fun getting back out in the grass, you know.
Do you knock off any rust, or like what do you expect to see on day one?
I'm not sure, you know. You just kind of see what kind of effort, what kind of attitude we have. You know, each day is a process, you know. Just want to see improvement each day.
Scott mentioned being impressed with how the offensive line was firing off the ball today. Did you see something similar, or did you see something else that was stand out to you?
I think they're getting better at it. You know, it's gonna be a daily process. You know, it's gonna be the search is just for consistency. You know, just believing and being consistent.
Bigger picture in the spring, is that what it's about? Just being consistent, or what are you hoping to get done over these 15 practices?
Well, you're looking to see who your best players are. You know, figuring out who's going to be playing on Saturdays. You know, so it's you know, you build the unit through being together, build consistency by doing things done the right way. So we're just helping. You know, we're just constantly building the standard.
When you're going through that, how much of it is individual improvement, and how much of that is like the unit learning to work as 5 guys working as one?
You know, each individual is focused on what they need to improve on, and then obviously offensive line play is 5 guys working as one, and that's a constant. Every single snap, everything we do, we're always trying to communicate and get to know each other better every day.
You mentioned 5 guys working as one. What's it been like trying to get used to these other guys on the coaching staff and becoming a part of this environment here?
It's been great. We all know this. Lincoln's a special place. We got special people in the building, and I'm fortunate to be around some great coaches that I can learn from every day.
Have you learned? What sort of things have you learned?
Just our offense, figuring it out, working together on that. So.
How difficult is it with you're trying to integrate these guys into a line for the fall, but you've got a couple guys that aren't able to be involved that might fit in there. How do they stay involved?
Yeah, we got them coaching guys up and helping and just being a part of the unit. And, I'm always pushing the narrative of helping each other. Everything we do, we coach each other, help each other. So they're right there. They're right on our hips. They're the more of the players can take control of this thing, the better off we'll be.
So they can actually coach their teammates.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really want them to help out in that way, and just helping talk to each other and always being around each other and all that stuff. So that's big for us.
How about center? How's that position come along?
It's good. I'm just, the main thing I told those guys is get the ball to the quarterback, start the play.
How many guys are doing that right now?
We got a few guys that's working at center. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the whole unit. Everyone's working hard. Everyone's really focused and working to improve. So.
What are you looking out of that position other than getting the ball to the quarterback? Is there a vocal component or a leadership component that goes with that?
Yeah. The center position is a special position, especially that's a position that, my brother and another guy I grew up with, Olin Cruz, played and I played. So we know how important that position is to. You're kind of like the quarterback of the whole line. You kind of set everything, you get everyone blocking the right people, and it's a daily communication with those guys to understand how important that is. Just getting guys lined up correctly, making sure people are focused. Those little things. All that position encompasses it all. So.
Have you noticed anyone start to kind of show those qualities early on?
They're working really hard at it. They're improving at it. Everyone's doing a great job with it. So.
Is it difficult for a guy that maybe has played guard or whatever, and then you want him to get some experience at center? You kind of have to focus on center. That has to be your.
Yeah, center it's a special position. There's special people that play that position. You can't just plug a guy in, take him from guard, and move him to center if they're not a great communicator. You kind of have to have those natural leadership qualities that come out when you get into these team settings. So you just watch the guys and see how they interact, and they're doing a great job.
I know you weren't around here last year, but have you seen what Cam was able to do, and do you show anything from last year? Because these guys, that's their point of reference. Is Cam,
Who's that?
Cam Jurgens, about being a center, the last year's center.
Oh, was that last? Yeah, I'm not sure who that.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
don't-
you haven't had a chance to watch any of what he did, because I'm guessing that most of those guys this year who are trying to take over for Cam, that's their point of reference about what he did.
Yeah, we're using a lot of guys to watch. You know, we're not only watching the guy that was here last year. You know, we're watching. You know, we got other guys that they study and stuff. So, you know, it's not just one guy.
Yeah, I'm wondering, who are your early influences in terms of offensive line? Obviously, it runs in the family, but who are some of your mentors in terms of being a coach? And like, what do you lean on?
My greatest mentor is Harry Hestad. He's the offensive line coach at Notre Dame. You know, everything that what he stands for is everything that, you know, I'm trying to be. You know, he's a great human being, great person off the field, and, you know, the biggest thing is just, you know, leading the men and creating a standard for the unit.
And what kind of traits do you hope your offensive line has as a group? What do you want your lines to be known for?
Discipline and toughness, you know, no matter what, always discipline. Physical toughness and mental toughness is so important. You know, this game's so mentally, you know, a lot of things happen, you know, out there. And if you're not mentally tough, it's hard for you to go from play to play to play to play, you know. So those two things are you know, imperative for us.
And mental toughness also lends itself to when there is a play that doesn't go your way, to you have a short memory, I'm guessing.
Yep, play the next play. Regroup, play the next play.
Talk about points of reference at center. Who are those guys? Do you show NFL film of some players?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can pull from anything, you know. Like I said, Olin Kreutz and my brother, those are my two biggest idols that I grew up with, and I was lucky enough to have them to look up to and learn from, you know. You know, and there's other guys around the league, you know, Sam Mustipher for the Bears, you know. Everyone can talk about this and that about him, but he just gets the job done, you know. You know, there's a lot of good centers out there that we can watch. You know, like the center from Iowa last year, he's a great center, you know, a great guy to watch. You know, the way he plays, his intensity, how he finishes blocks, you know. So there's a bunch of guys.
It's kind of strange. I think Dominic's numbers up down here. Is that kind of special?
Yeah, it's
walk in
totally,
the stadium and see
totally,
that thing?
it's special every day. I mean, you know, he's, you know, someone I've looked up to since I was a little kid, and I'm lucky for that, you know. And it's special. It's a special thing for me and our family.
Some of the guys you got out of the portal, Hunter Anthony and Kevin Williams, what do you kind of see for them as guys who are, you know, maybe don't have to add on the weight or the experience like a high school guy might? What have you seen from them and where they could fit in?
I'm just looking for them to do all the right things, you know, incorporate themselves in the unit, become a great teammate, you know, and you know, out work hard and, you know, help the young guys kind of bring them up, you know, so just through their experience.
Do you have early thoughts on where they play? Tackle, a guard?
I'm not sure yet. We're just feeling everything out. You know, the biggest thing is just creating that standard. You know, is everybody working hard and all that stuff. So that's a constant, everyday kind of deal. You know.
Back in the day, the offensive line, they'd try to have at least the starters and then a guard that could swing to either side and a tackle could swing to either side. That was kind of the ideal thing, and you never rotated the center. That was the guy that said it. How do you approach it? What do you want to see in terms of guys that are going to play, not just the first five? But.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good question. You know, I think, you know, you look for the best five out of the whole unit. You know, who's the best five, and if there's more than five that are all the same, shoot. I'm not against playing more than five guys at once, you know, just, you know, however we work it out. But, you know, you're always looking for the best five and how you can fit those pieces together.
Is that important? Like, I forget who the offensive line coach was there. he just played 5 and that was it. Like that was the total focus of it. And I think even in practice it was like 5 guys. And then when somebody got hurt, it was like, what do we do now? You're not in that same mentality.
No, I mean, if you got 8 guys that are all playing at the same level and they're all going to help us win, why would you keep 3 guys off the field if they're all playing at the same level? So I think if you got 5, it's always great. But if you got 6, 7, 8, 9 guys, you can keep everyone fresh because the technique and fundamentals don't change. So that's the thing that sometimes you worry like, hey, this guy's going to change up the rhythm or this and that. But the beauty of it is we're trying to get all of them playing the same way. So.
Donovan, how has it gone for you in terms of building relationships and learning the personalities of your players?
It's been great. It's still a work in progress. Obviously, you just study people and try to figure out what makes them grow and what some guys you got to do. Not treat differently, but kind of talk to in a different way, So it's been fun, man. Those guys are very receptive. It's a great group, great unit, and they're working really hard.
Nuri made you laugh yet?
Nuri?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a big personality.
They all make us. They all do. They all got personalities. I think that's what's fun about the O-line room. Everyone's kind of similar in that way. They all have a good attitude. Kind of happy-go-lucky kind of guys,
So you're really liking the group, though?
Oh yeah, they're great kids, great group. They do exactly what you say. They try to, they're people pleasers. So it's been great.
Coach Frost said you're starting spring a little bit thin up front with a few of the guys who have experience out. How does that affect maybe the way that you approach coaching here early in spring football?
That doesn't change. We're going to coach the same way. We're going to expect the same things from everybody. So, that doesn't really change much. I'm just happy that those guys are around to help me coach, and with so many guys, so it helps.
Yeah, how are you going to go about evaluating them, knowing that they're going to miss this time here over the next few months?
Just how they're involved. How in meetings that I ask them questions like everyone else. So how do they answer? Are they focused? And they've been great in that aspect. So. And they're doing great helping the other guys.
The more you've gotten to know Coach Whipple and some of the other new coaches, what do you have a sense for maybe the priority of the run game or how you guys will go about generating a running attack?
We're just building it. We're gonna keep building it all the way up until the first game. So, there's not really one focus. We're just trying to figure out, hey, what are our players good at? We're gonna play to our strengths, and that's what we're figuring out right now. So we're happy that we got film today,
With only 15 practices, what kind of impact can you have this spring from what you want to instill?
I just think the biggest thing is bringing that daily attitude and effort. Effort and attitude. Nebraska offensive lines, you watch the offensive lines from the past. The one thing you notice is those guys in the 90s, they play so hard. And it was for each other, it was for the state of Nebraska, it was for other people that helped them, So it's fun to watch, some of that old film and see that, and that's the biggest thing we're trying to instill in these guys is playing with that attitude and that effort, because those are things you can control.
Can you coach that, or do the kids have to have that?
No, I think, you can definitely, it's learned. It's a learned behavior, I think, so the consistency as how we show up daily is important for those kids to feel that daily,
Being able to fire up the ball, that makes up for it.
Oh yeah, it takes a lot of thinking out of it, Sometimes when you think too much of that position, it puts you in a trance,
Very good, thank you.
What do you think of recruiting? These last couple of months as you've gotten into that a little bit, what have you learned about it? What's that been like?
Recruiting's been great. I think it's a constant daily process as far as always keeping in contact and making those relationships and building those relationships, and just kind of being yourself. You show people what you are, who you are, and let everything else take care of itself.
How do you do that? Like some coaches like to text, or maybe some like to FaceTime or whatever. Like when you're yourself, how are you communicating? What's that like?
Yeah, just you know, reaching out to guys weekly, you know, seeing how they're doing. You know, I tell the guys, you know, you know, they all know, you know, if I'm reaching out to them, that we really love them. So it's just every day, and it doesn't stop. You know, it's always every day you're working on something. You know.
And this is fairly new to you, is that right? I mean, outside of a year or two, maybe.
Yep, I had 2 years at Notre Dame, and you know, 1 year at the D3 college. But you know, it is what you get in, what you get put in, right? So it's like anything else. You know, you work hard at it, you'll be really good at it.
I'm just curious, like, if there's more of a balance you have to strike when, you know, in the NFL you can work strictly on football, and now there's a recruiting piece. Like, how do you adjust your time and
Right.
things like that?
Yeah. You always have to consider, you know, getting a good routine and all that stuff with, you know, being able to have your football time, your meeting times, you know, and then you have your time for recruiting. So I think that's important, having a routine with that.
Is recruiting the biggest thing you've noticed transitioning from the NFL back to college? Is that the biggest difference?
No, I mean it's pretty. It's like, you know, like in the NFL you don't really recruit, but you're still scouting guys, right? So I think the scouting part is similar in that aspect. Now, reaching out to people and always being in contact and keeping communication lines open with those guys is a little different, but you know, you just adapt and keep working at it.
Is there like an ideal, when you're talking about recruiting, is there an ideal height and weight that you're looking for in high school guys? Does that matter?
I'm just looking for tough guys that play hard. You know, if you show that and prove that through film study, from me studying your film, I think, you know, a lot of other things can take care of itself.
What are those telltale signs on film when a guy plays hard? How can you tell?
You know, are they finishing to the play? Do they dip and hit? Are they a hitter? You know, are they willing to put their face in the fan? You know, and then just always constantly playing hard, getting to the ball. You know, are they excited about football? Do they, you know, some guys aren't like that, but some guys show it. You know, so you know, you're just trying to figure out how much do they love football and are they willing to play hard all the time.
How would you describe Coach Whipple, like just working with him?
Coach Whipple's been awesome. You know, he's got a lot of knowledge and experience, which is great. You know, and he's really like a calming voice for everybody. So it's been great.
Is your brother going to come out to practice and watch it all?
Yes. Yeah.
Is he there today?
Yeah, he was here today, yes. But he'll come back later in the spring. So it'll be good. We're lucky to have a guy like that around, you know.
Just having him there, just kind of a set of eyes, so and so close. How nice is that? Just like, what do you think, Dom? I mean, just you guys obviously have a very close relationship.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always great having guys like that around, you know. And any of those guys, especially a guy like my brother, you know, he's right in my ear, like, hey, get this right, get this, you know. So little things like that. And just having that support from him, you know, is great.
Do you see that old Dom ever come out anymore? When he played at Nebraska, obviously he was a very fiery guy. Do you see him still get like that anymore, or is he pretty reserved as an older Dominic Raiola?
What do you think?
I've got a pretty good idea. I'm asking you.
No, I mean, if you press the right buttons, I'm sure you get it out of him. You know, he's older and more, you know, more experienced, but I'm sure, you know, he's still got that fire. So.
What makes a good collegiate center? Like, what makes a good center in college? I don't know if that's the same as in the NFL, but what makes a good center in this level of the sport?
Just understanding that you got 10 other guys counting on you, right? First thing starts with the cadence and the snap, right? Then this ball to the quarterback, and then, you know, just being able to process information and then get guys blocking the right people. You know, there's not like a certain type of, hey, you need this size. If you can get guys blocking the right people, a lot of their abilities will take care of everything else. You know.
So coming from Chicago, from coaching with the Bears, how much of that running scheme did you bring here to Nebraska?
We're working through it, you know. Depending on, you know, like I said earlier, we're working to see what our players are good at, like what are their strengths, and then we'll always play to their strengths. You know, instead of forcing them to fit in a certain type of system, you know, I think that's important.
How are they communicating some of those? I know Trent and Ethan were working there. Scott Coach Ross said that. How are they doing as communicators?
They're doing great. They're doing great, and it's a constant daily process. You know, just reminding them and telling them like, hey, get here. You make sure you do this. You know, this and this and this. But they're working really hard at it, and they've grown a lot in that aspect.
Henry Latoski's a young guy. What kind of potential do you see with him, with Henry?
Henry's, he can be whatever he chooses to be. It all depends how much work he wants to put in. But he's shown a lot. Just like everybody in that group. There's a lot of good football players in that group. And I'm excited to work with them.
Who are some guys that maybe surprised you, like when you got here after you kind of saw them up front? You're like, you know what, we got a little bit more than I thought.
All of them.
What do you think of recruiting?
I love it.
Yeah, the traveling, all that.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah.
What have you found to be true so far? Like, what makes a good recruiter? I know you can't talk about any of the guys you're recruiting, but you got to commit already. And like, what makes a good recruiter? How do you
I
do
think
that
just
well?
being real with people, being honest with people, that's important, and that's just what we're about. So I think that's the biggest thing.
One of the things Quick was saying is that getting to the NFL is something he wants to pitch to recruits. I mean, he said that. Is that something you talk about, or do you try to keep it? Do you talk openly about, hey, we're doing NFL things to get you to the next level with recruits?
If they talk about it, I'll mention it. But I think what's important is, understanding you're coming here to get a degree, right? You're coming to Nebraska to get a degree, one, and then number two, right? Are you willing to put everything on the line for the team, for Nebraska, right? To help Nebraska win. I think those two things are important.
Are you recruiting an area or just linemen only?
We got areas, so I'm not sure exactly where, but we're figuring that out now. So
You were kind of more Midwest though in the January. Were you kind of going all over the Big Ten footprint?
I was kind of all over the nation, yeah. So that was really not sure if that was my area yet or not, but they just kind of set me out. So it was a great experience.
How did it look to you today?
Today it was fun. It was first day. There's a lot of things to work out, but I love their attitude. I love their effort. And that was the biggest thing I was looking at, to see that stuff today. So it was great.
What did it mean to have your brother here watching?
It's special, man. That guy's, is a guy I looked up to my whole life. My idol, and I'm lucky to have an idol like that close to me. It was awesome, and he understands how this place is built with offensive line play, and so it was always nice to have him with us, So.
Did he tell you he was coming or surprise you?
No, he told me late. Yeah, he told me. So it was great.
I know you played at Wisconsin, but before that, growing up, how much did you really like Nebraska and grow up, really follow Nebraska when was your brother here?
It was my favorite college football team. We'd wake up at 6 a.m. in Hawaii and, be cheering our asses off.
Was you really?
For us to, oh yes. It was like, and I remember Dom's redshirt freshman year, they played at A&M and lost a tough game. I think it was like 28-21. And I felt like it was the end of the world, in Hawaii. I was like, God, but, and ever since then, I always followed Nebraska football. Even though I went to Wisconsin, I always followed Nebraska football because of that. It was that special to us.
What does that O-line tradition mean to you here?
It's everything.
Does it? Is it?
Everything, and like it's 2022, right? So we're not trying to be who we're not, but it's good to understand like how it was built with attitude and effort, right? Mental toughness, physical toughness, and discipline. So those are some things that we're working hard to instill.
You feel like you played for an extension of Nebraska though with Barry Alvarez at Wisconsin?
Yeah,
Pretty similar.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And then Wisconsin's a great O-line school as well. So it was a great experience.
Can you get a couple more Hawaiian offensive linemen here? There's Dom and Tony Finotti.
Yep. We're searching them. We're searching them out. We're all, that place. Those kids will always have a soft spot in my heart. So.
How are your kids' confidence-wise? I mean, it was a tough year last year. I mean, there's no sugarcoating. How are they that way? And how can you help them?
I think the more we talk about it, the biggest thing for me is getting them to believe in themselves. Not worry about what if this, what if that, what if this. Just believe in what you're doing. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Just believe in what you're doing, and everything will be okay. You know, so just building them up in that way, you know, because they're great kids. You know, they're willing to do whatever you ask them, and just constantly building them, and then also holding the standard and not letting that standard slip.
Cool. Thank you.